I call Gareth Hughes.
Kia ora, Mr. Speaker. It's been an absolute privilege to speak tonight, even though my voice is fading. It really is a privilege to stand here, and I acknowledge all the robust debate we've had. The internet, eh? Well, it's not like Skynet, but it is transforming our world in such amazing ways, and I've seen that tonight on the debate online. It's not just a nice to have in the parlance of the government party. It's actually an essential utility. It's an essential part of our modern world. It's the way the government interacts with its public. It's the way our democracy is increasingly having its debates. It's where government departments interact with the public for things like tax. It's where we entertain ourselves. It's where some of us meet our partners. It's where we literally live our lives, Mr. Speaker. It's such an important part of our world. I also think a fundamental right in our modern world. One survey of 28,000 people in 26 countries found 80% thought that internet access was a fundamental right, and I support that worldview. Essentially, Mr. Speaker, the debate we've had tonight is the legacy of a decade or more of a lack of actual foresight by this Parliament and previous parliaments. We should have been having these discussions 10 years ago. A whole generation, my generation, has grown up not knowing anything else but copyright infringing, don't know anything. All my generation's grown up was with those ridiculous ads you see with the VHS when you load it in, that stealing a video is like stealing a car or robbing a purse. It's nothing like that, Mr. Speaker. And those exaggerations in the ads have done no good service to the debate, the genuine debate around copyright in New Zealand. It is good that Parliament is discussing internet issues and copyright in general. The bill is better than before, and I've taken every opportunity I can to point that out. It's so much better than Section 92A. The Select Committee did do some fantastic work in cleaning it up. But ultimately, what we need is to have a fundamental rethink of copyright law. We've gone about it the wrong direction, Mr. Speaker, in this Parliament. This bill has come from the position that what we need to do is strengthen copyright. That's the basic premise this bill's built on. Not a genuine reflection of what copyright is in 2011, what it will be in the coming decades, or what we need to do to make our copyright law better, more robust, and actually reflect the real world. For example, Mr. Speaker, it's disappointing this debate's happened under urgency. I was looking forward to contacting members in this House, bringing another supplementary order paper, amending the parody and satire laws, clauses of our copyright legislation. At the moment, websites are being taken down in New Zealand because we don't have an ability for artists or creatives or political satirists or anyone to use parody or satire as a legal defence as they can in Australia. And I recommend any members to check out the Hitler downfall parody videos online, and particularly the one around internet takedowns. It's a pity, Mr. Speaker, we're talking about this legislation under all readings of it tonight. To the listeners, I want to acknowledge them and thank them for their tweets and their humour and their ideas, but most of all for engaging with politics. Too often there's a whole disenfranchised chunk of our country, and it's great that they've definitely been watching us in their hundreds, maybe thousands today. The theme I've picked up from those tweets and those blog posts and those humorous pictures is the scepticism of us as elected officials, the scepticism of Parliament as a legislature when it comes to copyright law. Section 29.2a really did scare a huge chunk of our most informed population, and it's been disappointing, the lack of responsibility in this House. It's all right to say we mucked up Section 29a. It was bad law, it was rushed through, the process was terrible at the end when massive amendments were rammed through. It's all right to take responsibility and sometimes say we mucked up, both parties that is. It's not surprising also there's that scepticism in the public when we've got the ACTA negotiations, the Trans-Pacific Partner negotiations, where New Zealanders are legitimately concerned that we're literally negotiating away our rights as a country in order to get free trade deals, and when it comes to our own independent ability to make law on things like copyright. I want to acknowledge the compromise that was reached in the Select Committee. I prefer that we're seeing this position in this House. I'd still like to see the facts about what the thresholds will be to enact it, what the evidence will be what the timelines will be, if there'll be a public consultation. I haven't seen that, and I don't think the public's seen that. So it's good that we're debating this bill, but I don't think we should have had account suspension in there, full stop. The Green Party's fundamentally opposed, and so does Labour. Labour says they're fundamentally opposed, but they're quite happy to devolve responsibility off to the minister, washing their hands of the responsibility. People want to vote, and people want to see principles in this parliament. They want to see what a party's bottom lines are. And when they say they're fundamentally opposed to something, but they'll vote for it, people start to question that. Our position on the opposition to account suspension isn't a Green position, it's our community's opposition to it. I've seen comment from the right of the political spectrum all the way through to the left. It's not moralistic or the Green Party taking the higher ground. We're taking the public ground, what the public wants in New Zealand, because what this law is bad precedent. The Minister, Nick Smith, is wrong. We don't take away someone's bike or car if they use their bike or car in committing a robbery. We don't take away their telephone if they use a telephone as part of their criminal acts. It's just not like that. We've seen no evidence that it's going to be effective. We've seen no compelling arguments why we need to do it. And I did misquote the House, the 70% figure who would reduce their file infringing after receiving an education notice. That wasn't a New Zealand figure. I understand it was a Canadian figure. We just don't have that evidence in New Zealand, and ultimately what we're doing is bringing in a law that's unproportionate, won't work, and takes away people's right to internet account when the minister decides to enact it through an order in council. The Greens haven't been irresponsible. We do support notices, we do support fines, we do think this is an appropriate deterrent. And I think it's somewhat ironic that Jamie Lee Ross, our newest member, who just gave his fantastic Tea Party speech all about the role of the big state, is voting for a law where the state will come in, if the minister enacts it, and take away, pull the cable out of your internet account. Big state, if ever I saw it. There is a chance we could have got a better bill. There's no reason why account suspension would have to be in this bill. Minister Power is a reasonable minister. I'm sure he would have liked to have had the cross-party support in the House, but we'll never know, because what Labour says is trust us. We negotiate as hard as we can, trust us. But can we trust Labour? Because ultimately, like the tweeters, I've got a great degree of scepticism of this government, and I believe they will bring this in as soon as they can. Who knows how long they'll look at the evidence for, what type of evidence, who will be providing the evidence to the government. There's serious questions out there which are left up in the air, and essentially the Section 92A debate is going to keep on flowing over the next years. In summary, Mr Speaker, I want to acknowledge the good changes in Select Committee, only peer-to-peer software, the changing in definitions of ISPs, the fact that lawyers on the whole won't be involved in the tribunal. I want to acknowledge all the stuff we didn't get a chance to talk to tonight because we're focused rightfully on the account suspension. Be good to discuss what was left in regulations. Be good to discuss about the mobile termination and the big decisions the Select Committee made there. But Mr Speaker, to wrap up, I'm proud to be standing on my principles in this chamber and not voting for a law that has such a disproportionate, unfair, unworkable, wrong clause in it, account suspension. Kia ora, Mr Speaker.